Hey everyone, and welcome back to Retirees Benefits. I'm here with some breaking news that's going to affect millions of Americans who depend on Social Security, SSI, and SSDI payments. And listen, I know you're probably tired of hearing about changes to your benefits. Trust me, I get it. But this one is different. And I need you to stick with me because what I'm about to share could directly impact your monthly payments starting as soon as October 1st. Just yesterday, President Trump signed an executive order that's sending shockwaves through the Social Security Administration. And here's the thing. I've been getting messages from you all weekend asking me to break this down in plain English because, let's be honest, government speak can be confusing as heck. So I read the entire 47-page report so you don't have to. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what this means for your family. But before we dive in, I want to be completely transparent with you. This is heavy stuff. And some of you might not like what you hear, but I promise you this. I'm going to give you the facts, the good news, and the challenging news. And most importantly, I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do about it. Let me start by explaining what this executive order is actually trying to accomplish, because the headlines you're seeing aren't telling the full story. According to the White House press release, the primary goal is something called Social Security Modernization and Fraud Prevention. Now I know what you're thinking. We've heard this before, right? But here's what's actually happening. The administration says they've identified over $2.3 billion in improper payments made last year alone. That's money going to people who either don't qualify anymore, or in some cases, people who are unfortunately gaming the system. And look, I know that's a sensitive topic, but we have to talk about it because it affects all of us. The executive order has three main objectives. First, they want to speed up the disability determination process, something that currently takes an average of 147 days. Second, they're implementing new technology to catch fraud before payments go out. And third, they're requiring more frequent eligibility reviews for certain recipients. Now here's where I want to pause and share something personal with you. Last month, my own mother, who's been on SSDI for 3 years due to her chronic illness, got one of those scary letters asking her to prove she's still disabled. She called me in tears because she thought they were taking her benefits away. That's when I realized how many of you must be feeling right now. Scared, confused, and frankly frustrated. Now let's talk about who this executive order actually impacts, because this isn't affecting everyone equally. If you're currently receiving regular Social Security retirement benefits and you're over 65, honestly, most of these changes won't touch you directly. Your payments should continue as normal. And the new fraud prevention measures are actually designed to protect your benefits long term. But if you're in one of these groups, you need to pay attention. For our veterans out there, and I know many of you watch this channel, if you're receiving SSDI based on a service-connected disability, you'll likely face more frequent reviews. The order specifically mentions enhanced verification for military disability claims. I want to be clear, this doesn't mean they're trying to take away your benefits, but it does mean you might need to provide updated medical records more often. Moms and dads receiving SSI for your children. This one hits close to home for me. The order requires annual reviews for all SSI recipients under 18, instead of the current system where some kids go years without review. Sarah, who I mentioned earlier, this affects families like yours. You'll need to keep detailed records of your child's medical appointments and any changes in their condition. If you're unemployed and receiving SSDI, there's new language about work incentive monitoring. Basically, they're going to be watching more closely if you're earning any income while on disability. And I know some of you are scared to work even a few hours because you're worried about losing your benefits. We'll talk about what you can actually do in a few minutes. For those of you who are disabled and under 50, I'm going to be straight with you. This order makes it harder to get approved initially, and you'll face reviews every 12 months instead of every 3 years. It's not fair, but it's what we're dealing with. Let me break down the specific changes that start rolling out over the next 6 months, because timing matters here. October 1st, 2025, this isn't just a few weeks, folks. The Social Security Administration begins implementing what they're calling real-time income verification. Every time you or your spouse gets a paycheck, that information gets shared with SSA immediately. No more waiting for your annual report to catch discrepancies. November 15th, 2025, New medical review requirements kick in. If you're on SSDI or SSI, your doctor will need to submit updated reports using new forms. And here's what no one is talking about. These forms are more detailed and require more testing. That might mean more doctor visits and higher copays for some of you. January 1st, 2026, the big one. All SSI recipients will need to re-verify their living situations annually. That means proving your rent, utilities, who lives in your household, and any changes to your living arrangements. Miss the deadline, and your payments get suspended. The executive order also creates something called benefit integrity units in each state. These are teams specifically tasked with investigating what they call high-risk cases. The criteria for high risk isn't fully clear yet, but it includes people who've moved frequently, have income from multiple sources, or have family members who also receive benefits. Okay, I promised I'd give you the good news too, and there actually is some buried in all of this. First, the order allocates $500 million for modernizing SSA's computer systems. I know that sounds bureaucratic, but here's what it means for you. Faster processing times, fewer lost applications, and better customer service. Right now, when you call SSA, you're lucky if you get through in under an hour. The new system promises to cut that to under 20 minutes by next summer. Second, there's a new safe harbor provision for people who report changes honestly. If you notify SSA within 30 days of any change in your situation, whether it's income, living arrangements, or medical condition, you won't face penalties even if it affects your eligibility. This is huge because right now, people are terrified to report changes. Third, and this is important for our working disabled community, they're expanding the trial work period from 9 months to 12 months. That means if you want to try working part-time, you have a full year to see if it works out before it affects your benefits. The order also fast-tracks approvals for certain conditions. If you have ALS, end-stage renal disease, or you're a veteran with a 100% service-connected disability rating, your application gets processed within 30 days instead of the current 5-month average. Let's get practical here because I know you're wondering, what do I actually need to do? If you're currently receiving benefits and everything is legitimate, honestly, not much changes for you day to day. But I strongly recommend you start keeping better records now. Get a folder, physical or digital, and save every piece of mail from SSA, every medical report, every pay-up if you work. The increased review frequency means you'll need these documents more often. If you're thinking about applying for benefits, don't wait. The new rules make initial applications more complicated, so if you qualify under current rules, get your application in now. I'll put links to free legal aid resources in the description. If you work part-time while on disability, this is critical. Make sure you understand your state's work incentive rules and report every penny you earn. I know it seems scary, but with the new real-time monitoring, trying to hide income will only make things worse. I'm going to be honest with you about something most other channels won't say. These changes are going to be hard for some people. The increased paperwork, more frequent reviews, and stricter oversight. It's designed to remove people from the rolls. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that these measures will reduce Social Security and SSI spending by $8.2 billion over the next 5 years. That money has to come from somewhere, and unfortunately, some of it will come from people who currently receive benefits but might not qualify under the stricter rules. If you're barely getting by on your current benefits, I need you to start planning now. Look into local food banks, utility assistance programs, and housing support. I know it's not fair that you have to do this, but I'd rather you be prepared than caught off guard. Here's what you can do right now, today, to protect yourself and your family. First, contact your representative. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, or something else entirely. Your elected officials need to hear from real people about how these changes affect you. I'll put contact information for Congress in the description. Second, connect with your local disability advocacy groups. Most areas have organizations that provide free help with SSA issues. They can review your case, help with appeals, and sometimes catch problems before they become crisis. Third, if you're worried about an upcoming review, don't wait. Schedule appointments with your doctors now to get updated reports. Yes, it might cost money up front, but it's cheaper than losing your benefits and having to reapply. Fourth, Consider working with a disability attorney, especially if your case is complicated. Most work on contingency, meaning they only get paid if you win. With the new rules, having professional help might be the difference between keeping and losing your benefits. I know this feels overwhelming, and I know some of you are angry, and you have every right to be. These are benefits you've paid into or desperately need to survive. But here's what I've learned from covering these issues for the past 5 years. The people who prepare and stay informed are the ones who come out okay. The Social Security Administration has promised to provide more guidance over the next 60 days. They're supposed to release detailed implementation timelines, new forms, and clearer eligibility criteria. The moment that information comes out, I'll be here breaking it down for you. I'm also working on getting interviews with disability attorneys, former SSA employees, and advocacy group leaders to give you different perspectives on how to navigate these changes. Look, I started this channel because I believe everyone deserves to understand the systems that affect their lives, especially when you're already struggling to get by. These changes to Social Security are complicated. They're coming fast, and they're going to impact millions of families. But here's what I need you to remember. You're not alone in this. There are resources available. There are people who want to help. And there are ways to protect yourself and your family. If this video helped you understand what's coming, please hit that subscribe button. I post updates on benefits, assistance programs, and policy changes every week because I know how hard it is to keep track of everything when you're already dealing with so much. And please share this with anyone you know who receives Social Security, SSI, or SSDI. The more people who understand these changes, the better we can all prepare for what's ahead. Check out the video I posted last week about appealing SSA decisions. With these new rules, some of you might need that information sooner than you think. And if you're worried about affording food while dealing with benefit changes, I've got a recent video about emergency food assistance that could help. I'll be back later this week with more updates as soon as we get additional information from the Social Security Administration. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, knowledge is power, especially when times are tough. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.